February of 2015, I was performing at a showcase with my new wedding band, and we were performing the first song, Uptown Funk, and I hit the high note, and whatever that did to my brain, I took a seizure. At first, my body started shaking, and the crowd and the band were kind of looking at me, thought I was going off on a dance. But then I fell to the side on top of the mixer and everything, and took a grand mal seizure there and then, and woke up with the ambulance boys around me. They took me to Ballinsloe, where they scanned me, and they found a shadow on my brain. And they says it's likely that it's a tumour, you know. That's when I made the choice to go over to Spain. I was in contact with Vera Toomey, who was battling for medicinal cannabis for her daughter at the time. And she told me about the Cannabis clinic in Barcelona. And that's when I put together a GoFundMe page, and I reached my goal within 48 hours. And I was off to Barcelona within 2 weeks of that. So I went over to Barcelona, picked up the medicine, and then moved to Zaragoza. I was living in an Airbnb for a couple of months over there. I done 3 months in total. During those 3 months I was seizure free. I was walking maybe about 5 or 6 kilometres a day. I used to go up and down to El Pilar, the big Basilica church, you know, for a walk on the sunny days there, you know. And I was fit and healthy, like, you know, and I came back then in October, and within a week of coming back without medicine, I had a seizure.
Kenny was that sick that you had to keep an ear on him all the time, you know, and you were watching him all the time, you know, and that was as soon as he got that medical cannabis, like that, he was a different man. It's like he got his life back, you know. He was stride with his mental health too, was that on top of it? And all of that too rectified itself as soon as he started with medicine. Like, why can't he have it, you know? But yet they're quite happy to ply with medications that don't work, that cause them awful stress, awful mental health problems, to be honest with you. They'll give them tablets that didn't suit them, they'll come off tablets that didn't tape them, you know. There's no right system even. The answer is a tablet every single time. Take this tablet. And he was taking tablets, and they were having side effects, and they were giving him another tablet then for the side effect, you know. It's just nuts. He saved the country a fortune not taking chemotherapy and radiotherapy, hospital admissions, all of them, not holding up a bed, all of them things. Like, realistically, Kenny should be in a hospital, a very sick man. And he's not, he's here. He's up the stairs, you know, minding the children, you know. I never thought I'd see that day again, Jerry. I thought we were going down, 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 down. This is the day I prayed for. But in the 90% of the time, I thought it wasn't going to come, you know. And then it's like getting life back. So it is. You know, if you had called here to my house a year and a half ago, I'd be sitting there on the couch, and you'd be looking, sitting at the walls there inside watching TV. A little bit tuned in. But not with us, you know what I mean? Yeah. It was a million miles away all the time, you know. Where now, because he was on such a cocktail of tablets too on top of it, you know, he couldn't even feel, you know, he had no emotions, or everything was suppressed, you know, it was kind of, where now he can laugh and he can cry and he can joke, and you know, he's living life, you know. Yeah. He certainly doesn't look like a man that's dying to me, you know. And I've seen a lot of people dying now, by God, he doesn't look like he's dying, so he doesn't, you know, he looks well, so he does.
As I said, I was saying there, my wife, she was trying for another scan, a follow-up scan after my treatment in Zaragoza, and I went up for that scan, and I got the results of it about a week or two later, and I walked into the consultant's room, and the consultant said, "Kenny, you have a good scan." And I was blown away. I was saying, look, on the way up to here, look, if it's stays the same size, I'd be happy out. You know, if it's shrunk, I'd be delighted. You know, if it stays the same size, I'd be happy out. If it's gotten any bigger, I might have to consider surgery again, or I would have considered chemotherapy as well, like, and radiation if it gotten any bigger. But he said it was a good scan, that there was no progression in the tumour since October 2016, and this was February 2018, and that my tumour was stable, and that he had noted that. I said to him, you know what I was doing, you know where I was? And he says, yeah. I says, you know, I've been taking medical cannabis and to treat the tumour. I says, will I continue on doing that, so? You know, and he says, yeah. You'll have me up before the medical board yet, though. He says, you know. So that just goes to show, though, like, how afraid of it they are, you know, over here.
Okay.
So when I got back here, I tried to apply for my licence then, you know, and I tried to get backing from a couple of doctors or whatever, like, you know, and I got in contact with Green Light Medicines. They said to me that if I can get a prescription from my own GP, that they would press forward and apply for a licence on my behalf. And unfortunately, my GP, even though he fully supports me, he says I was grabbing the bull by the horns that time when I was leaving for Zaragoza. He tried to get, or he tried to apply for, he tried to get me a prescription for Green Light Medicines product, 10% THC, and his medical indemnifier advised against it, so he couldn't.
It was an insurance issue.
Yeah, it was an insurance issue. Yeah.
Okay.
It was indeed, yeah, and that's where I felt like I came to an impasse. You know what I mean? Like, so during the time in Spain, I had met a couple of friends, you know, as you do, and I had a proxy over there that I could get my medicine sent to, because the lab that produces the medicine won't send it outside of Spain, you know, because of the laws and that, you know, and but I had a friend in Spain who took delivery of the package and forwarded it onto me, and unfortunately that package was intercepted by the Customs and Revenue up in the Dublin Mail Centre on April 18th of this year, and so we I appealed it, you know. I wrote to the Revenue, the guy that was after seizing it. I wrote to him, and I wrote to An Taoiseach, Leo Varadkar, and I wrote to the Minister for Health, Simon Harris, and I got a reply back from the Revenue saying that they were going to investigate the matter and to see if I would be prosecuted or not, which was crazy in my opinion. And Leo Varadkar just passed a book. He says I just passed it on to Simon Harris. Thanks very much for your email. And Simon Harris's office came back to me and it says, thanks very much for the email, we'll investigate the matter and we'll come back to you. And I haven't heard a dicky bird from them since. Now, I sent them my my letter from Beaumont stating the fact that I was being treated with cannabis in Spain, and that my tumour hadn't grown because of the treatment. Like, because like if my tumour was to change, I could possibly have like a couple of weeks to a couple of months, like, you know, if it was to change form, like, you know. So I also sent them on my certificate for cannabis use for my brain tumour, along with my dosage, so, which was basically my prescription, and I've yet to hear back from them. So I Mike Cunningham, a good friend of mine, arranged a march in Athlone and before that march came, a lot of people were getting onto Boxer Mourn, Boxer being a local TD, and he actually, I got a phone call from his office a couple of days before the march asking me would I come in to see him before the march in Athlone, and at that meeting he told me that what I had sent him the same information, you know, like my certificate, my dosage and the letter for Beaumont, and between him and his advisors they says that it was more a statement of fact than an actual letter of support, you know, because as it stands here in Ireland you need the support of a consultant, an Irish consultant, to make the application on your behalf, but I had no Irish consultant, you know, and like there is no Irish consultants that are trained in the treatment of cancer with medicinal cannabis, whereas I had a consultant in Spain, you know, and like I'm a European citizen and I've a script from a European doctor, a European consultant that's trained in this, and I thought that would be enough, you know. It should justify, in my opinion, me getting a medical license, you know. Because mine isn't on the list of diseases or illnesses that the HPRA report came back to Simon Harris's with, you know, and I think it was MS, epilepsy, yeah, and nausea from chemotherapy.
Okay.
Before you could get it on compassionate grounds, but as the minister said himself, that any drug, you know, any Schedule 1 drug can be applied for a license for any condition, as long as it's through a consultant, you know, and it has to be an Irish consultant, and that's where I'm caught at the minute, you know.